The Cheating Death Podcast is a comedy podcast that contains information, subject matter, language, and course material that may not be appropriate, suitable, or beneficial to all listeners. Your discretion in this matter is advised. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we interview the radiant Rich Dow. We get into a variety of topics dealing with life, metal, how society is currently, and how to deal with frustration. We also provide you with an all-new Annihilation Announcement, a joke of the episode, and more. So, dear listener, prepare yourself a cappuccino and a snack for this very special long-form episode of the Cheating Death Podcast. One of many interviews to come. Enjoy the splendors and the vocal tones of dear Rich Dow as we explain how to cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is the Annihilation Announcement. As we progress further into the gray that is the holiday, there may be a lot of mixed emotions, some joviality, some pure sadness. Understand, dear listener, whichever side of the coin you dwell on, you have a comrade here in the Cheating Death Podcast. You are valued, you are cared for, you are loved, and there are people in your life who want to see you flourish, want to see you get over this currently tumultuous turmoil that you are trepidating. Know you have value, and you are indeed a holiday gift unto yourself. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement.
Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Tag, guten Morgen, eine gute Nacht. Ist deine Reisende, deine Ausländer, deine Cleric of Chaos. And on today's program, we have an absolutely special, sensational, some would argue sensual, the positive, pulchritudinous Pittsburgh powerhouse himself, the legend, Rich Dow. How are you, dear sir?
I'm fine. That's a lot of syllables, bub. That is a lot of syllables. You are a gentleman and a scholar.
We do what we can here at the program, sir. We have been acquainted for a rather long period of time, so when it takes into account the level of reverence, respect, and camaraderie we have between each other, more syllables are appropriate. Whereas if I just met a fellow upon the street and he asked me for a dime for tea, I would say, "Here you are, sir, a dime for thee."
That's very proper. I like it.
I definitely do not utilize this vernacular everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be exhausting, man. That would be I feel like at the end of it, like by 5 o'clock, your jaw is just like, it's tapping out. I can't do it. It's too many words.
As long as you maintain the jawline from a musculoskeletal and a beauty perspective, everything else seems to fall into place, seemingly.
Nice. Fair enough.
You, Rich Dow, are probably one of the absolute hardest working sports creators on the medium, and yes, expected full-heartedly a laugh. But yes, it is true. You put out a lot of tremendous content with your friend Jermaine and mutual friend Chris Matthews. There is a lot that goes into your work, not only on a daily basis, but also from a content creation perspective, from an understanding of your audience, from delivering the content that people want to see. What we want to know here at the program, our first question for you, Mr. Dow, is when you wake in the morning and you are embarking upon your daily grind, what is the first thought in your head that pushes you to get up out of your bed?
Did the dog shit on the floor yet? It's my first thought. First thing, so I will tell you this. I wake up in a panic, right? I wake up at 6 a.m. I always beat my alarm. I don't even know why I set it anymore. And I look over, I'm like, hey, you ready to go outside? He's like, yeah. All right. Let me find my shoes, find some semblance of a hoodie. Okay. All right. Don't do it on the walk. Okay. Come on. Stay. No, come here. God, Jesus. Okay. And I have to like keep, cause he's 11 months old. So I'm like keeping him in my eye. I'm like, all right, listen, do not stray left or right because you will do some deeds because you're like, is it cold outside? Yeah. We're not going to do it. We're going to do it in here. I'm like, no, we're not. So that's my first thought. All joking aside, it's become so automatic, man. It really, I wake up, I figure out what day it is. I'm like, all right, what is on my agenda? Because my schedule doesn't change. I record Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, right? So if it's on any of those days, I'm like, okay, here's what I have to get done. Here's what I have to kind of figure out from the night before, X, Y, Z. So my mind's always going. Generally speaking, my only actual reprieve, and this is like breaking news, is when I'm in the shower. Like in the shower, my head isn't loud. But ironically enough, I'm still thinking, but it's clear. Like I don't have the phone right there. I don't have the wife or the puppies. I don't have any of those external things. I just have the water and me. And then I formulate all these great ideas. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Get out of the shower. I'm like, oh, where'd they go? Oh no. Oh. And then, but it's a nonstop thing, man. But I love what I do. So that's kind of what this is. I'm not saying this is how my head used to work, because it wasn't a business, but now it's a business. So I would always think of sports stuff. It would matter to me. But now I'm like, how can I position this or maneuver this into something that people want to hear and that I also want to talk about? That's the one delicate balance is I'm very genuine. I'm not going to talk about stuff I don't care about. Like, it's just not, that's not fun for me. And that's going to come through. I'm a very emotionally available person, so you will be able to tell if I'm interested in doing what I'm doing or what I'm not. It's just, a lot of people on the internet don't do that. A lot of the bigger channels don't do that. They're just very like, oh, clickbait. Here's the thing I'm really interested in. And they're like, I want to die. And it's just that I can't do that. It's not interesting. And I wish more people did that.
We always say that a genius is someone that is a master at performing a task in which they despise. That could be argued extensively, and one could identify that particular soul as just being a master and being a masochist. There's no genius behind doing something you hate well. There's going to be a lot of things in life that come into play that have either external or internal implications, but you're ultimately going to be able to realize what is going to push you, what is going to make you a better version of yourself as time goes on. When we look at how our passions play out, when you post and when you talk about everything that you, Jermaine, Chris, and everyone else discuss, it's quite clear all of you are in it. Your hearts, your souls, your minds, all of you. 100% of you are into this entirely. And when you consider the fact that all three of you have known each other for an extensive period, you have fully committed into converting this into a business endeavor, which is an absolutely noble, and especially in 2025, a monolithic task. One that both you and I are, approaching separately and differently. you are taking what I would consider a more brash and a more blunt approach in which is needed, whereas I'm still looking at it from the perspective of, oh gosh, golly gee whiz, I sure don't want to step on anybody's toes there, eh? Getting all semi-pseudo-French Canadian about it, when in reality, I need to pull out the East German. I need to pull out the Leipzig. I need to bring that out.
I mean, I am also German, so that probably helps.
Well, you quite frankly are a wealth of knowledge as it pertains to not only sports but also promotion. You have said it yourself, hashtags are king. I have been using hashtags on Twitter ever since I've had one, all of the different accounts, blah, 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 all the different variations of Cleric and Chaos accounts before mental breakdowns led to me deleting them and this and that, this and that. This one's holding out kind of well, kind of hoping it remains. But when you and I have a discussion back and forth, it feels more genuine as two artists balancing their ideas. You are a sports journalist, an absolutely awesome content creator when it comes to sports. You have a vision with your friends when it comes to executing.
Oh, hold on. So that's the thing. You just hit on it, man. They're friends. Like that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, I'm not doing anything. Yes, pay me. Pay my bills. Please help me. But also, I'm just talking to my friends. I'm just recording it. Like that's kind of at the end of the day, like that's kind of my mantra when I first started this. Because before we even really started, we did the whole premise of this show. Because Jermaine used to be my boss at my job, and he was an awful boss. Not because he wasn't good at it, because he just didn't care. I'm like, dude, same. Let's do this. So we would literally be in what was called coaching, and we would literally just sit there we would talk about football and girls. That's what we would do. Like we just 30-year-old people at that point, 10 years ago, just doing that in what we were doing for a job. And it just eventually became like, hey, we should do this for the internet. I think people would find it interesting, and eventually it came to pass. But at its very, very core, and my mission statement was, meow, kitty cat. I have a cat that looks just like that. Actually, he's very loud and annoying, and he doesn't. Because when we first got him, I would like talk to him a lot, and he would talk back, not in people words, but in kitty words. Now he just doesn't shut up. I'm like, Owen, shut up! Stop it, Owen. Like that's what half my day is. Like, Owen, oh my God, what do you need? Okay, fantastic. And
you just described this man at 4 a.m. perfectly. I am so sorry, dear listeners and viewers of this video. He generally has his own little corner he sticks in when we do interviews or when we record. But every once in a while,
I bring the pug on all the time. I bring the pug on all the time on the video. It's fun. It's a nice little like run-in.
Well, anyway. You know the scary part? You remember the discussion that we were having about AI before we started recording?
Yeah.
Someone has created some sort of like weird Twitter account that's associated with this little guy and his now deceased brother. Like we used to be free. Like this guy had a big gray baby brother, but we lost him in March. And he's become extra like this. He has separation anxiety now.
Yeah.
He clings. So even when it comes to like working from home and doing the consulting and doing the meetings, that's another reason why when I learn from you and I learn from all that you do and I watch all of your clips and I read how you like format them, I write down what you write, how you write it, how it's executed, and I see that you get steady growth. You know what you're doing. Your passion and your precision separates those from just an idea. So when you first started doing this, as the Pittsburgh powerhouse of sports, I consider you to be.
Which it never started as a sports thing, by the way. It was just the regular show that we do on Fridays. Like, that was the initial show for the first year. And then we added a football thing, and then I added a baseball thing. but like it's very crux. It was called the X's and O's of life, and I thought it was a funny name because I'm like, we're both football people, and we're just kind of going through the X's and O's of life, and we did shows where we would break down a word, like what's love, like what does that actually look like, what does that mean? Like we did anxiety, we did so many different things that were like, oh wait, I also run a fantasy football league. We should maybe do a show about that because I've been listening to fantasy football podcasts for years. So I'm like, we could do that. We know what we're talking about, but we're going to do a different spin on it. We're not going to do the prototypical, here's all the numbers, guys. No, I don't want to do that. That's not fun to me. That doesn't separate you. What separates you is how we, kind of approach it. We're like very like, no, this is what I feel about this. This guy sucks. Don't play him. Don't do that. No bueno. But sorry, I just wanted to like let you know before we kind of went into that portion. It's like, no, it didn't start off as a sports thing, man. This was just me talking to my dude.
See, and that's the thing, is you have been doing everything that revolves around different ideas and concepts of content creation for such a long, varied period of time that you now have segments and chapters of people who, like, you permanently got me to attach you as sports guy as soon as you told me that you're Pittsburgh born, or because Pittsburgh to me, and again, this very well just might be the German or the European viewpoint on Pittsburghians, or it might even be the French Canadian perspective. I'm not entirely sure, but strong, resilient. Don't want to meet any of them in the back alley at 3:30 in the morning if you've crossed them earlier in the day and you pissed them off. But also some of the most intuitive, some of the most determined, and some of the most resilient people in the blue-collar section of the United States of America. Am I incorrect?
Yes. Used to be. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, maybe 15, 20 years ago, yeah. Now it's very progressive and very like techie. It's like, yeah, because this was like a steel mill town. Like you built shit. Like that's what you did. Now all those things are dead. Now it's all like, hey, computers, nice, let's do that. And it's such a large kind of city hub where that's just what you do. So, yeah, but I mean, now it's just like you don't really get the hardworking folks. If anything, the people that are hardworking are considered the construction people, and they're super lazy. So it's almost like an ironic, like, and one person's working. Fantastic. Makes sense. Thank God my taxes are going to this. Love it.
Completely okay with that if there are 20 people standing in a music studio and there's one artist in the voice box going through their links to produce an absolutely monolithic record. Not okay when you're facing a new urban construction project that has to do with sewers and pipelines and you're paying all of these people the equivalent of about, anywhere between 30 to 60 US dollars an hour on average. It gets a little pricey. We do have that same problem here.
The other problem with that is you don't want to go to a concert that's going to take 14 and a half hours, right?
No.
You want to be in and out in about 2 hours, hour and a half. Same with the construction. If all of you work, maybe we can have this done in a week instead of 6 months. We're just going to do one person at a time. Perfect. That makes sense. That's great. And we're going to slow down traffic? Love it. Please. Give me more of that. That's exactly what I want to deal with on a Wednesday. Super great.
What does it mean? Less infrastructure and more delays in my day? Where do I sign up? This sounds like the dream destination of all nations, my friend. Everywhere. Yeah. But when we look at your history, your current trajectory, your overall progress as not only a content creator, but I consider you an artist. You are passionate in what you do. Yes, you are very logical. But you still create something firmly based in a tangential need. You're not building bookshelves for needy children. You're not building cat towers for stray cats on the boulevard. You're not building makeshift televisions for those of whom do not have the benefits of flash photography. You are very pragmatic in how you approach your art, and you are very open in how you create. So, what do you feel separates the amount of not content, but drive that you have versus, say, your adversary or somebody you would consider an opponent in your respective area?
I would say I genuinely buy into what I'm doing. I'm not just spouting off the new cultural thing or the new hotness per se or whatever you want to say there. I do everything myself. I don't have a team. I learn as I go. Like, I don't have any formal training in this. Like, I didn't even have an online presence before I started this. I didn't have a Twitter. I didn't have a Facebook. I didn't have anything. I was like, I don't need or care about that. And also, I still hate Twitter. So Twitter's a dumpster fire. But I feel like there's a level of genuine desire and care and aspiration here. And yes, I would like to make money off of it, but that's not my goal. And I think, unfortunately, people see bigger channels and they see all the money and they see all the little things they do. And like, I want to do that. I'm never going to get to that point, man. I understand that. I understand this is a hobby that I could make something off of. This is not going to be my job. Now, if it becomes that, I would say that's by the grace of God and being humble and what have you. But if you have that as your aim, dude, you're gonna fail, man, because you're gonna start doing things that aren't things that you want to do. You're not gonna talk about stuff that you want to do. I'm gonna go talk about basketball. I don't give a shit about basketball. I don't care at all. Not even remotely close. I'm not, like, even to the point where, like, you know, our friend Drew Yari has a basketball show, and we had him on a few weeks back, and I was like, hey, you know, talk about it. Am I ever gonna watch that show? No, never. I don't care about it. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to just listen to something I have no idea about. Drew doesn't watch the football show. Drew doesn't watch the baseball show. You know why? Because he doesn't care about it. That's fine. I'm never going to cater my stuff to people. I'm going to cater to myself. And if you fall into that niche, perfect. If not, hey, no worries, man. That's why the internet's so proud. So yeah, I would say just a genuine desire and care. And one last little interjection here. I appreciate people that actually watch. And it's not just the YouTube verbiage. Like, we literally had a show last night. It's perfect timing. It was because, you know, you remember how Spitball did they put the link of StreamYard and people could jump on the show? Well, yeah. I did that a few weeks before they did that on the football show. Then they did that on their show, and then I did that again last night, and Dirk came on, and Chris came on, and Rams came on, and I wanted them to tell me what their Thanksgiving stuff was, what their plan was, what they're thankful for. Some people don't really have that comfortability or that ability or that desire to do that until maybe it's given to them. And I want people to know, like, no, I appreciate you coming on here and doing this and spending your time and effort and maybe getting out of your comfort zone and doing all that fun stuff. I think that kind of separates me from folks too, because I really do. I remember when we would get maybe 2 views a week. I remember that vividly. Me and Jermaine would sit on the porch, listen to the show, and we'd critique it like we're like the kid. We're like the people in the balcony and the Muppets. Like, we would do that. And now we get much more than that. But I'm not forgetting those early days, and that's why what we get now is so appreciative. And like, people talking in the chat, like, we never thought we'd have that, man. Like, you would see that on other channels. You're like, no one cares. Like, we were begging for someone to say something. Now it's like, I can't keep up with it. I'm like, I need to get another monitor because I can't focus on this and you guys. Like, that, it blows my mind. So I think staying in the now and remembering where you came from, that's huge.
Progress is important, whether it's one small step, whether it's a different idea, a slightly different perspective, or even a total change. One of the things that we
People
here
are
at the
asking me
program,
to go on shows like you. Like, what?
at the end of the day, well, you kind of hit the nail on the head. That's you, Rich Dow, have been pushing us for well over 5 years to get out of our shell and come out of our own proverbial ass and just start doing this again. You are part of the reason why we formalized the program finally after years of trial and error, after figuring everything out. You are responsible for that in part. And that's another thing that you mentioned specifically is about appreciation. Remembering foundations, roots, where you came from versus where you are versus where you plan or hope to be. Over the course of those times, you have not only figured out how to remain consistent, but you have taken your listenership and you understand that you have a dichotomy of listeners. Probably a circumference more specifically, but I'm a huge fan of balances, as you are well aware, left and rights, baphomes, up and downs, all that shit. So you look at the fact that you have some listeners that are probably earning a lot. They probably have a well-connected social group. They're sharing with their friends. They're all like, hey, yo, check this guy out. He is absolutely phenomenal. He knows what he's talking about. I really like his content. They put an attention to detail like no other. But then you also understand you more than likely have the listener that is, or may not be, don't want to be presumptuous here, but socially dejected, may have just gone through a whole litany of social circumstances, maybe going through an exceptionally dark time, maybe experiencing financial strife. They don't communicate. They don't really give you any feedback, but they're still there. They're still kind of like silently following or silently like lurking along and supporting and being all like, yay, he released another podcast. He did a great thing. Excellent. I'm so happy. This is amazing. Oh, I'd send them an email, but man, I don't know what to say or like whatever, people who listen to you for years through everything, but also do what they can in their own lives, and they take inspiration and hope from you because you're their most consistent voice. You are what they listen to for a very large portion of their weekly content consumption. For both of those listeners, at the top and at the bottom of the proverbial scale, or the left or the right, or however you want to view the metric, both of these people have taken time and taken effort, and you acknowledge each of them equally. You do what you do. And that is one of the reasons why I'm happy to say this openly and bluntly on the program, is that you are innovative. You are insightful. You deeply care about the people that take the time to commit to not only listening to you, but following you and doing their very best to ensure that when it comes to listening to your program, you're in their top 3, top 5. Because there's 4.2 million podcasts out there right now. There's a whole ton of people sharing their opinions on sports, life, content, art, and everything in video format now. We got lots of competition, but you handle it more bluntly in a careful and considerate way. I handle it a little bit less bluntly, a little bit more, as you put it, cordially and properly and with, multiple syllabic words and shit. This accent is fake. This entire, even our banter, this is assimilation at its finest. You wanna know how I actually speak? It's a completely different game. But the dichotomy between that and how you and I approach things, I've learned a lot in identifying how you care about your listenership, how you approach potential strife or potential calamity that may occur if, in the event that you might disappoint a segment of them, or if you lose a segment of them. You don't let things impact you so much that it impedes your progress. And for that, I truly think that you deserve all of the appreciation, respect, and positive well wishes with respect to your future progress, not only as an interviewer, not only as a content creator, not only as, again, a leviathan in sports, as I consider you to be, but just as a human being, Rich. Hey Now with Rich Dow is probably one of the funniest and most beautiful titles I have ever heard because it's so cute.
Blame
It's
Draper.
adorable.
Draper and B Show. Actually, no, it's actually just Draper. Because he would just always say that when I was in the spitball chat, and I was like, dude, I gotta adopt it. I just have to. Like it is 1,000,000,000% him. So then I just renamed the channel that and all that. But yeah, look, when I was always a podcast guy, like I told you, I always listened to podcasts, and I thought back when I first started, like what I wanted this to look like, what I wanted to, like what my little checkpoints were. And I would usually just put a podcast on and do something. I'm paying attention to it, but it's like 70-30 the podcast to what I'm doing because I'm not going to be doing anything crazy while I'm doing that. And I was like, that's what I wanted. I want people to put me on and do other stuff that they're doing, but pay more attention to me than what they're doing. And it sounds pretentious, but we're multitasking people. How often are you just I can't tell you the last time I saw the wife watch anything on TV without her phone in her hand. I can't. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of ever. Because that's what we do. We're able to do that. We've adapted and evolved or devolved, whatever way you want to look at it, where our attention can be in many different places at one time. So I wanted to be that voice in somebody's ear. You know, I record 4 times, like I said, and each episode's about an hour and a half. The fact that some person is clicking on my stuff purposely, like you have to click on it to play it. You're making that conscious decision to then do that and then to allocate an hour and a half of your time, whether it be streamlined into that or you're doing the dishes, doing this, that, and the other, but you have me on and you're listening to me. That's crazy to me. Like, that's why I appreciate it, because I think, unfortunately, if you get too big, you don't care. You're like, okay, thanks. This is what you should be doing. No, never going to look at it like that. Like, you are making a conscientious choice to do that, and I appreciate that, because I'm just a dude. Like, I'm not famous. I'm not necessarily that intriguing. I just know what I'm talking about, and I have fun banter, and I have a good time. Like, that's just what I'm just doing what I'd be doing. You know, I don't know. I just, but yeah, that's kind of my mission statement, if you want to call it.
Well,
you know,
it's not an easy thing for you to say or for you to articulate. In this kind of medium, this is a lot of smiles coming from you. I do not want to hurt your jawbone too much because, you know, again,
I got to get on your level, man. Like you said, you got to do jaw exercises.
Oh, my friend, jaw exercises are absolutely one of the funnest things to do if you are so vain about your life, at least about your physical form, as I very much so admit to being. Easy thing to do to keep both your neckline as well as your jaw being somewhat triangular at bottom and being able to match your cheekbones in a level to where it looks nice. Your facial structure is outstanding. I love your cheekbones. Your jawline looks really slick, especially with how it mirrors within your profile when I see you on video or even just how you speak. You are a very handsome man. I will say that.
Oh, stop. I'm going to tell the wife she's going to come after you.
Don't worry. She won't be able to get across the border by the time the border services understand that she's 100 times smarter than she is. Well, she's 100 times smarter than anybody at the border is, dude. There's going to be more than enough time for me to figure out what I need to do. The border isn't the issue. What is the issue is the distance that it would take for her to get from that border, assuming she, Pittsburgh takes the most logical route up. Toronto traffic is some of the worst traffic that you will ever see on highways and freeways and all of that. Yeah. Take into consideration the worst country road or the worst freeway traffic that you have ever seen in your life, or like I-95 traffic or I-74 traffic, anything like that. Toronto on a regular basis has some of the worst traffic that you will ever see. Your wife, I guarantee you, is more intelligent than at least 80% of the people driving on these highways on a daily basis. So
you need to respect the gangster of Pittsburgh driving. Anytime there's anything that happens in the sky ever, people here have like a coronary, a hemorrhage, a stroke, erectile dysfunction. Everything that could happen to you in a car happens to the people in the car. And I, on a very regular basis, almost get out of the car and beat someone with an iron. It is, the struggle is real, sir. We are synonymous with really, it's not the traffic that's bad, it's the bass backwards street signage, the
infrastructure and municipal planning.
I mean, the mildly drunk 5-year-old that made most of the ramps and the off-ramps and the one-way street that lead into one-way street that lead into dead ends. Super smart. Love it. Yeah, and just how the general people. There's a lot of old people that drive here too, and it's awful. I actually refuse to drive on Saturdays and Sundays because I will catch a body. And I can't do that because I have episodes to record.
At the end of the day, when you take into consideration traffic, congestion, the amount of stupidity, the amount of Cracker Jack box licenses that have been dispersed in the past 20 years, we're not old people. We both still have like color in our respective hair. We still have vibrance in our souls. We're still young people. How is it possible in both of our respective geographic areas? Hell, dude, even in fucking Berlin, it's like this. Like, before we came back to Canada, North America, and all this shit, it's like this almost everywhere in almost every big city now. We deal with this on such a regular basis that, as you said, it's almost impossible for you to go driving on a Sunday without catching a body. Full transparency, the whole balance, Baphomet, left and right, good versus evil, bad versus good, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, one of the biggest reasons why, when we are dealing with a customer service situation, and there's somebody who's just going off on this person who's probably making next to nothing in the grand scheme of things, is doing this job maybe in addition to carrying on socioeconomic burdens, home burdens, financial distress of all matters. And then you have this douche canoe that comes in and is probably making...
Oh, I use that all. Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
$80,000 to $125,000 a year, and that son of a bitch is going off on poor Tracy for the fact that he missed one shot of a fucking liquid cane or a classic syrup or a vanilla syrup in their goddamn coffee or their latte, and they're going off on this person because every other problem in their lives are so fucking insignificant that they need to utilize this one moment where they feel they have control over this person who is doing nothing more than the fucking hardest work in the fucking world when it comes to dealing with people. And then you have a wave of emotion that comes before you as you're observing this. You understand you can do 2 things. One, you can stand there and you can let this person be berated. Or 2, you can tell this fucking yuppie piece of fucking white trash, goddamn overprivileged, underappreciated piece of shit to shut the fuck up and to move the fuck on. Or you can take it the fuck outside. These are feelings. Point blank, straight to the point, every day. Yeah. I travel to figure out different things for all the different medical conditions that have been dropped into my fucking life that we have discussed over the course of the now coming on 18 months. You know firsthand. You've seen, you've heard some of the shit, you've read some of the x-ray and the MRI reports that I fucking sent you. It's been a fucking crazy wild ride. Imagine the amount of bullshit that you have to put on another fucking soul when you're going to a coffee shop to literally just scream at this person.
Yeah.
And you go there again and again and again and again and again and again and again, and you still scream at whoever's serving you the coffee, that is when you realize that you don't have a coffee issue, you have a control issue. And then, as both you or I would separately handle the observer status of that particular situation, I'm telling you right now, man, I'm getting to a point where, oh, golly gee whiz, I'm going to be Mr. Rogers about this, isn't fucking working mentally anymore.
I'm an embarrassment to the wife. I'm an absolute embarrassment to the wife. I am bald, angry, and tattooed. I'm very aggressive.
I wouldn't say you're an embarrassment. I would say you were a complimentary.
No, you were, because I will cause a scene because somebody is causing a scene. I will call you the fuck out. No issues, no qualms.
But take into consideration, that's not embarrassment. How each of us view different situations and identifications of understanding, that is your perception of it. We are now facing social situations where, you walk into a restaurant, you want to grab yourself just a fucking quick bite to eat, something to take home, or something in between points D and E or G and H on your daily adventures. And, you're experiencing people every fucking day. And am I just hyper aware of everyone and everything around me? Am I going even more insane than I'm already been clinically prescribed? Or am I just realizing that we're just dealing with more and more pieces of shit as life goes on?
Not to get political, because I try to stray away from that, because no boy knows how to do it. Because of what is in power, people that usually would pipe down have been allotted the opportunity to speak up, and there was a reason why they were silenced for a while, because it's like, you should shut the fuck up. Your opinions are bad. The way you approach people is bad. Stop doing that. And unfortunately, because of certain circumstances, those people have been allotted the opportunity to let out their hatred and just their general disposition. And those people are more and more frequent, so they feel protected when they lash out. And unfortunately, there isn't enough people that are going to call these people out. And even if you do, they tend to be a little bit. It doesn't seem to really make too much of a difference, other than the person that you're sticking up for. But realistically, that's really all you should really be trying to do, because some of those people are too afraid to do it themselves. I'm not saying I'm super save-a-ho. I'm not. It's not the case here. But I'm also like, dude, if you're being a dickhead in public, I'm gonna call you out. Like, don't do that. Like, that's not. Don't. Because you don't want the smoke. Just don't.
You have to consider what the balance is too in these situations, and that, like what you just described, is something that I think about quite regularly. Is we have now reached, like, I can't believe it's almost 10 years ago now, but the beginning of the first presidency the beginning of the first establishment of the term, in which we may not speak specifically about, just in order to avoid specific strife and or complications. That was the beginning of when things started to really, truly unravel. However, because of the coronavirus and everything else, like, I hate to say it this way, but we had the benefit of the pandemic to kind of slow his craziness down just a little bit. But when you take into consideration the fact that now we are in a position where a dude with one of the raspiest voices known to man and one of the absolute most asinine approaches to federal health I've ever seen in any country, ever, we look at it from the perspective, as you just mentioned, that we have to constantly remind ourselves that this is not normal behavior. This is not how a normal society behaves. And you said this to me more than once, and I realized this myself, but this is one of those things that you have to remind yourself of over and over and over and over again. Everyone has a smartphone now. Everyone has the capability to start a social media platform. You and I, we care a great deal about what is on our platforms, respectively. We care a great deal about what we say, who we say it to, what our audiences are. Like, you know that for the past, better part of the last 10, 15 years, I have been vehemently and ardently obsessed with using whatever time, whatever skills I have left, just to do whatever I can to make the world a little bit of a better place, no matter how that looks. And as you stated in your approach to content creation, my approach to content creation when it comes to interviewing, when it comes to discussing things with people, or doing the heart-to-heart episodes about things like grief, suicide, loss, struggle, facing failure, I'm not afraid to talk about the things that most people are afraid to talk about. I have enough experience, education, life knowledge, and understanding of different perspectives to be able to help as many people as can possibly be reached with a microphone and a mind. But when you and I look at how this is now, there are people like Pristine in office who somehow, some way got ahead and away with putting a dog to death over and over again. Remember that?
No.
That was a very brutal time. Okay, so I may be getting the government official incorrect here, so I'm just going to throw 100 allegedlys behind that. But there is somebody in there is somebody in the administration we shall not speak specifically of, and whom is in her position after being responsible for the death and abuse of animals. We have people in this administration in whom have been indicted, accused, convicted of a litany of different crimes. And we're not even just talking about the main person here. You and I both understand that, okay, we're trying to be somewhat rational, we're trying to be somewhat logical, we're trying to be somewhat pragmatic in this approach. How much more do we have to be patient is the primary point that we're all looking at here.
Fucking wolf. Get me off this mortal coil. I'm fucking over it. Yeah.
I would, but as long as cold brew coffee exists, there really isn't much that I can do in that regard, man. The moment that cold brew coffee exists, I'm sorry, I'm going full kamikaze into an office building. I'm just going to run into it and fall over comedically.
Yeah, just to wrap that part up, I think unfortunately we are in the society, we're in the decade, we're in the generation, whatever you want to call it, where things that should not be socially acceptable are now socially acceptable. And things that should be socially acceptable are not socially acceptable. And you can read between those lines as much as you guys want. Perfectly fine by me. But just think about what used to be okay, or at least not looked at, negatively, are now shunned. And things that used to not be favorable, and the things that were said in the dark or thought in the dark are now freely open. It's like, hey, because this isn't it. It's like someone turned the world inside out. It's like,
there's a difference between a freedom of expression and a restriction of that freedom of expression being a complete myth and or a never existed in the first place. The idea that right is a right, when you take into consideration the fact that you just poignantly and articulately, specifically, bluntly stated, it's a rough time.
yeah,
Thought crimes, information crimes, and all of that. I mean, it really doesn't matter what you think. I am the program, like we are a believer. The program. We'll get into that another time. But we believe in, it doesn't really matter what your overall viewpoints are. As long as you are not destroying innocence, you are not harming or corrupting or making any attempt to destroy children's lives. You are not SAing people on a regular basis. You are not murdering people. You are, what I would consider general decency. As long as you're doing that, your opinions are just that.
We lost that logic a long time ago. Like, that logic behind that isn't there anymore. It's like that, being that everything's kind of like a free-for-all now, I think just like the moral compass people have, that shit broke. Like, they lost that in the woods, their friend. To normal people, like, hey, you should do. Don't touch her or him if they don't want that. Don't say derogatory things about someone's sexual preference. Like, don't murder. Like, that's never good. But like, if you kind of stay away from those three things, you should be good, right? Like, that's generally. But I feel like that line is so skewed now because, you know, sometimes a creamsicle touches a porn star when she didn't want it. That's crazy. So like, if the leader of the free world is like fucking finger banging a porn star, like you as the general public, you're supposed to believe like that's not okay, or that like. So you get these impressionable people that are generally people or sheep. Really, that's kind of my thought for the most part.
The boilerplate for consent should not be something that is difficult to understand.
Yeah.
You know, let's get this on record publicly, and for anyone who may be listening to either one of our simulcasts, and I'm going to give you this video after we're done, and you can post it to whichever medium and do whatever you want with it, manipulate it any way you wish. But consent is simple. 1, no means no. I do not give a shit if you are in a fraternity on the south side of a Florida State University campus. It does not fucking matter to me. No means no.
Pretty fucking easy, yeah?
If you are uncertain, number 2.
That is no.
Ask before proceeding. You do not know, especially in a situation where a level of inebriates are involved, especially in today's modern society, whether or not the other individual is going to be into the thing that you think is going to be consensual. Confirm with the person. Confirm the consent before proceeding. If the person is any more than a beer deep, don't even think about it until a time when both of you are sober, or at least she or he or they or whomever you are proceeding is sober and you can be respectful.
You need to start getting two-factor authentication, like you're logging into Microsoft Teams. Like, send me a text too. Like,
do not fuck a drunk person who is on the verge of passing out. They are not capable of consenting. They are not capable of understanding anything that is going on. And as stated, should be obvious, the last of the main 4 pillars. Do not fuck with your date, your partner, your friend, or whomsoever's drinks or their substances. Do not, under any circumstance, no matter what the substance you're putting in there is, just do not fucking do it.
No. Yeah, these are pretty simple like rules to live by, but apparently they're all skewed. But let's jump off that because I feel like that's going to rub people the wrong way.
True.
Yeah.
Let us jump into the surprise top 5.
Now,
we are looking at for this program.
He was going to tell me. I told him to fuck off. Don't do it. I want to know exactly when. So this is like, if anyone that's watched, you know, what we do, like the drafts we do, it's not planned. We figure out our ideas on the show. So I want to kind of flow in the same veil and see what you got, because I have no idea what you're going to ask me. I have no idea.
Well, it's interesting that you made the bald, tattooed, blunt observation earlier.
Okay.
Because I have had a few ideas going through the course of the cranium. And today's top 5 is going to be our top 5 hard rock or metal songs, specifically released between 2018 and 2025. I'm going to be very quick and very blunt with mine, and you're probably going to laugh at how stupid it is. But number 5, we have Rammstein's Zeit. Number 4, we have Rammstein's Armin der Christen. Coming in at number 3, we have Lindemann's Frau und Mann. Coming in at number 2, we have Altusfleisch by Till Lindemann. And coming in at number 1, we have Osh so gern Pain version by Peter Toftagren und Till Lindemann.
Oof. Okay, so here is my issue, just to put it out there. I don't like new music. I can't. I'm not a fan of new music. I'm not.
So let's stretch it out. Let's take the time parameter.
Okay.
And let's just make it from 2000 to 2025. My list still does not change.
Okay. Ooh. So hard rock and or metal.
And yes, Seether, Seven Dust. I hope you don't include Avenged Sevenfold, but bands like Slipknot, Korn, Limp Bizkit will be considered for nomination in this list.
Fair. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily be able to rank them 5-1, but I'm going through my music here, and I will just say one. Oh God, I fucking love Maynard so much. All right. I'm going to go the Deftones featuring Maynard, Passenger. Because it's not overly heavy. It's haunting. It's haunting, and it's just with all these veiled messages. I dig that a lot. I was not ready. I like it though, because I gotta tilt and think.
If it helps, I can provide you with some honorable mentions since we
I got some ideas.
Well, Minerva, you mentioned Deftones. Minerva is one of the greatest songs ever released in hard rock or metal, period, end of conversation. The lyrical content, the vocal quality, the instrumental precision, everything about it to me is just beautiful and flawless, man.
Fair enough. I don't want to do two from any same artist, so I'm going to go Kill Switch Engage, The End of Heartache. Yeah.
Damn. Oh, dude, punched. Okay, you just kicked me and I landed in a portal in early 2006.
You're welcome.
Oh, God. Oh, life is kind of okay. I'm in California. Oh, please don't wake me up.
I'm going to do, and it's not really because of instrumentals or vocals that makes this a very metal song, which is a weird kind of way to approach it, but I'm doing Corn Daddy. And I know that's before 2000, but it has to be on there just because if you understand what the actual topic of that song is, I'm assuming you're aware of that. So it's something you don't really talk about on anywhere, but it is a very heavy, that's a very heavy one.
It's one of those songs where if you know,
you know.
You know.
Yeah. This one, it was actually on a previous list that I did for one of my top covers. It's actually Marilyn Manson, Tainted Love. Because it made me really like a song that I really didn't like. And if, by comparing them, you're like, yeah, that is much better. And it's funny because the first one is very poppy and uppy and it's all about, that longing. And this one is like, yeah, no, fuck you. I'm all set. We're all good. I have I have nothing for you. Let's see. I gotta get one more. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I gotta put this on there. I can't avoid it. Judith, The Perfect Circle.
Yes. I had a feeling there was going to be some inclusion there of a perfect circle.
I couldn't just, I had to find out which one I wanted to do, and I'm like, that from the jump, you're like, oh. And it's funny, because when it first came out, I didn't like it. it didn't tickle any of my fancies. But
Really?
yeah,
That's wow.
yeah. And I don't know if it's because I learned more of their catalog, and I mean obviously that came out what 2004 or something like that.
0304, yeah.
Dude, that's 22 years ago. At that point, I was was I how old was I? 17? Yeah, dude, I barely had dick hair. So like as I grew up and my palate evolved and what have you, it's like you understand it, you appreciate it, then you learn what it's actually about, and you're like, oh no, then it has a whole nother like resurgence. So yeah, that was fun.
You go through life listening to songs in different stages of your own progression.
Yeah.
And you start to resonate with them, or you start to separate from them more.
Yeah.
When you start off as a child, it's generally speaking what your direct overall geographical influences are.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry. We're officially reaching the cusp of getting into middle age. So that's how it was for us. I mean, I know for new generations it's going to be significantly different with the advent of internet in the home. But we look at songs that we grew up with, like for you, as you mentioned A Perfect Circle, you mentioned Maynard James Keenan. Like, dude, I can't think of a time when Schism didn't get me through a thought block, or when there were times when a Deftones album would be the difference between me being able to smile and being able to think differently than how I was able to view it as a kid, where I was just like, oh boy, my favorite band, I wonder what they're going to bring this time. Yeah. Now, and additionally, as somebody who's worked in the industry for about 20 years professionally at this point, it's beautifully haunting to listen to it now and to be like, wow, I'm still alive. I'm still okay. I'm still doing my best. I'm still trying really, really hard. And I know more about what this song means to me now. And as I listen to this song,
it's evolved.
Memories and movies of myself through over the years of my life come back and play to my mind. And your list is probably one of the best lists I've ever heard in that respect, too.
Oh.
So, yeah, 100%, fully transparent, fully blunt, and fully direct. We say what we feel, and at the end of the day, if that is something of concern, we have a podcast email where people can reach out to, and a complaints department, which again is more than likely just going to yield to being told to go fuck yourself, but we'll see as it is. But that being said, Rich, what I'd like for you to do as we conclude this lovely interview, and note the full interview will be sent to you and you can make it available through whichever means you choose.
Yeah.
What are all of your plugs, all of your platforms, and everywhere you would like us to follow?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's Hey Now Rich Dow on Twitter. I really can't be sure, to be fully honest, because I'm on there, but I hate it there, so I try. Oh, no, okay, yeah. If you look up Hey Now Rich Dow, I'll be on there. It'll be a picture of my 4 pods. And really, I just recorded YouTube, so if you look up Hey Now Rich Dow on YouTube, that's where you'll find me. And, yeah, it'll just be plastered with, like, pug stuff.
And occasionally you do shows with other individuals as well. Your co-host Chris Matthews, your co-host Jermaine. Follow them on their social media platforms, as you said.
Jermaine's on social media. Jermaine.
That's what I was going to say. Jermaine, no social media, just with what you guys do on the videos. A friend of ours, Drew Yari Experience, you can follow him on Twitter as well. It's his various YouTubing platforms. Of course, our friends over at Spitball Media, we have John Draper, B. Show Brian, and we have Shaheen, the absolute graphic dream. We take into consideration all of the people in whom are listening to this.
Did you know that initially Shaheen did some of my graphics for me? He made logos. Yeah, I paid him to make some of my logos initially. Now, I don't use them anymore, but I definitely put money in his pocket.
One day, I will send you I think it's either 2018 or 2019 graphic he did for me, where it's very Bray Wyatt-esque. He has me holding like a skull, and like it's just like, my hairstyle hasn't changed in like 20, 21 years or so, right? But he masters everything so perfectly and makes the background very Portal-esque. Like, he's a very
He's a
excellent artist
talented dude, man. He's a talented dude.
and a very nice person.
Yeah,
We both
I've had
know
him on the
Don
show several
Stoney.
times, man.
One of the dudes who just truly gets it from top to bottom, artistically, visually, and especially in the discussion of movies. Really, really glad that, we had both experience with him. We also know Don Stoney, who is a lawyer aficionado as well. One of our great friends. Follow him over on Twitter. As you just laugh and shake your head because he is your legal counsel.
I was on the Bayou Geeks a few weeks back, and Lippman was on some kind of stuff because his chat was unreal. I'm like, what are you saying? Nothing you're saying is PC. Oh my God, what are you doing?
Evil Ghosts at Twitter as well. And remember to follow twitter.com/IcarusFell for more content, which Rich so eloquently described. One thing that I do want to mention to you now that you brought that up specifically, his Garden of Thought episodes are so absolutely beautifully chaotic, man. He not only does exceptional interviews, but how he approaches his solo shows and his opinions towards stuff, he's just so direct. He's so genuine. He's
I've
so
had Lippman on
real.
too. I've had him on too. He was a good guest. He was fun. Like he is quirky. He's into some shit. Him and Chris just did an episode too. So yeah, he's an interesting fellow, man. I'm like, who gave him a law degree? They shouldn't have done that. But fair enough.
Well, I mean, with rumors going state to state, well, there's a very strong chance that, over the course of time, the bar exam may or may not be removed and replaced with an AI training model of some type. So, there's hope for us one day. But as we conclude the program, we want to remind you, dear listener, that you are indeed worth it. You look in the mirror every morning. As you go to sleep at night, what I want you to know is that you see yourself each and every single day. Give yourself an opportunity to relax. Look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, beautiful, see yourself tomorrow. With that being said, this has been the Cheating Death Podcast with our guest, Rich Dow. Thank you, and take care. This is where it's going to get sketchy. I'm trying to stop it from here without leaving.
No, if you did, yeah, it'll let you end the stream. It'll be fine. You'll still be in like the studio.
So, settings, recording. Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, so there should be a place kind of right up top where it says end.
End recording.
Yeah.
On today's program, we had Rich Dow's and the Cleric of Chaos's list of the top 5 metal songs of their particular favor. However, we have a separate list in which we would like to provide in rapid fire. Coming in at number 5, we have Deftones' Minerva. Coming in at number 4, we have Imagine by A Perfect Circle. Coming in at number 3, we have Lateralis by Tool. Coming in at number 2, we have Machine by Static X. And coming in at number 1, we have The Creatures Are Everywhere with Wayne Static. This will not be the last top 5 metal list you ever hear on this program, but if you'd like to contribute your top 5 metal songs, feel free to email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke is brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. Man, are you Allentown, Pennsylvania? Because I never want to come to you. We'd like to take this time to thank Rich Dow for donating his time to our program today. An absolutely phenomenal interview, and we had a beautifully tremendous time speaking with him about various topics, going from his current career and his trajectory as it pertains to his content creation to his experiences in life. Please follow him over at Twitter at twitter.com/accidentallifepod, And you, dear listener, if you have any feedback or any questions as it pertains to Rich Dow's appearance or Rich Dow himself, you may reach out to him directly or email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and remember to take care of yourself. We're pulling for you. We're all in this together. The Cheating Death Podcast has been brought to you by Nach dem Leben, CRDVC, Chaos Realm Records, Apple, Google, Spotify Podcasts, and of course our hosting platform, Spreaker, where for $3.99 a month you can support us and our supporter program. You may make a one-time donation to the program at buymeacoffee.com/clericofchaos or book a meeting for your upcoming artistic or business endeavor over at linktr.ee/clericofchaos, where you can also obtain all cameo, merch, and media information. We release new music on a weekly basis at youtube.com/clericofchaos and on all Spotify platforms, Tencent, QQ, Apple, and more. You may reach out to our friends at the pinned profile post at the twitter.com/weallcheatdeath page, or you may follow them at the links in the description below. If you are facing psychiatric duress, please call 1-800-273-8255 or dial 988 from your mobile phone in the United States or Canada. If you are experiencing domestic violence, please call 1-800-799-7233. And if you are looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local adoption animal rescue center. Remember, dear listener, without you, those around you would be a little lost and missing a piece of their souls and a part of their lives. Whatever you do, stay strong. And remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.